Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Esteemed Gentleman podcast for Friday, June 11th. I'm your host, Scott Labrie. Joined alongside me, as always, we have Uncle Teabag, Tyler Sunt.
Hello.
And we have all day Eric DeShane in the house.
Hello.
How you boys doing today?
Good.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah.
This topic, Eric came up with it today. What is it?
Yeah, well, this next weekend coming up here, we were planning on having a bit of a camping trip with some friends, but unfortunately that fell through at the last minute, unfortunately. So I thought it'd be a fun chance to talk about, what was some of your guys' favorite memories camping and ever been. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you want to do as much as you can? Or
If I had it my way, honestly, I'd be sleeping out my brand new camper I just bought, which is a scamper. Brand new, 1976 Lady Shasta.
yeah.
Sleeps 2, 4, 5 people. Doesn't fit 5 people, but it can sleep 5.
Oh, yeah, good.
2 people per bed.
If you cuddle really close, and a little bit.
You might be able to squeeze 2 people in the top bunk.
Yeah.
But it's only about as long as I am when I lay down, so I don't know how they got that math. But if it were up to me, I'd
has to sleep inside the refrigerator like a vampire or something.
Oh.
The fridge is literally the same size as those little wall plug-in ones, like those tiny little little mini fridges. Yeah, it's pretty tiny.
But it's nice though. It's somewhere nice like that. It's not a bad camper setup though.
Man,
I love it.
my first camper, man, I was so stoked when I got it too. We went out there and I'm like, pack it up, put shit in the cupboards. You got your cooler. The shitter in there doesn't work, so we have like a little porta potty. Like there's those little disposable ones, which we don't use anyway because most campsites that you go to have stuff for that. Or if you're going out to a buddy's lake lot and you're going to camp, they have all the amenities that you need. And yeah, so I mean that's just another storage room for all. I put our coolers in there and shit like that, and you literally just hook up the camper and go. And like the truck's got room for whatever else you want to do. And then
I love that.
Got the little dog in there too. Just a stuffy little happy home.
Yeah, I'm in the market one for a camper too as well. I do want to have a good camper. I have my truck tent, which I don't mind, but it's still a tent. So I would prefer to have even something as small as yours is all I would ever want because for me that's more than enough just to kind of go out somewhere for a weekend, just have a
you have a roof over your head.
You're out in the wind. You're not cold. It's perfect. Yeah,
exactly. Like the furnace wasn't working or anything, but I mean, you have your blankets, you've got a bed, like you've got everything that you need. You're out of the elements, you're out of the winds, all that. Like, and you wake up, like we had power, we plugged it in. I brought my Keurig along. I'm like, I can do that now. I can bring my Keurig and have coffee in the morning. Man, I feel like such an old man. It's like, man, this is amazing. It's so awesome. But I've been tenting, I don't know, my whole life pretty much. Myself anyway. My brothers, they all have like these 36-foot amazing mansions on wheels. But
there's always that extreme. There's either that little get you by just good enough, or the really high end where you're not even really camping. You just have a portable
glamping.
House. Glamming, whatever they call it, glamping. Yeah.
That sounds like a sexual act.
Glamping
probably should be.
Molesting glamorous people. Glamp ya. I'm gonna glamp ya.
And you, Scott, you're not a.
You big camping fan?
I mean, I like camping. I wouldn't say I ever did the tent stuff. Whenever we went camping, my parents have their trailer, their camper, so we'd always stay in that.
Yeah.
So I haven't ever done the full go out to the middle of nowhere and set up a tent kind of thing. Like we'd always just go to a campground or something like that, rent a stall, and usually you got power, and then. You bring the PS2 along just in case it gets rainy out,
Yeah.
That was a big no growing up. As if you bring that out, you get your
same with us
backhand across the head.
Like if it was raining and we were stuck inside the whole time, we did have a TV and a VHS player, so sometimes we would watch movies, but otherwise we were outside the whole time. You guys were outside, go to the playground, go to the beach, go swimming, and now it's just I just love that. The older I get, the more my ideas change as I get older.
Oh yeah. Now same too. Now I wouldn't bring my PlayStation 5 out to
no,
unless maybe just staying there for 2 weeks or something like that. Where it's
and you're gonna have nights where you just wanna game and veg.
But being there as a kid for a week at a time, I don't know, take a week and you're going camping.
Right.
Yeah, it's usually we're there with our cousins and stuff too. So it's well, how many bike rides can you go on, and how many trips to the beach can you go on? And it's all right, let's just kind of break it up a little bit and play SmackDown versus Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been like a big luxury to have wherever we were camping with our family, because it would have just been nothing to do. Go play some cards, or you play whatever kind of games that you're not.
Yeah.
No TV, no power, too bad. Suck it up. But nowadays, everyone has a generator. Everyone's all plugged in now because everyone's kind needs power for whatever else they have. So,
and if I had a generator, I'd be set. Honestly, just have that in the back of the truck and
like
bring that along.
Nowadays, it's easier to kind of get the setup going nowadays for sure. But back growing up, it was very much like, we're going out to Fork Lake for the weekend, whatever it is, and it's, if you don't like it, well, too bad, we're here for 3 days. So get along with your cousins, play nice, and I'm sure you won't get bored. I'm like, that's pretty much true.
Oh yeah. The memories of being a kid too, like just going out and just exploring the campground, and then going out just a little bit further than you're allowed to too. That little bit of excitement, just going exploring stuff, and we used to do that when we were in Fairmont.
Yeah,
too.
Always. Whenever we would camp somewhere, it's like, let's go make a fort. That was a one go-to as a kid growing up, was go out in the bush for hours till it got dark and just go play in the woods and just make a fort or do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Always.
And then when it got dark, I'd go play hide and seek or something.
Yeah. Kick the can, and then someone would hit the tree or just fall over, hurt themselves, or crying, and everyone had to stop because the little Timmy's crying, Or
a knife fight would break out over a bag of chips because you got cabin fever. It's the wild, right?
It's the wild.
It's natural instinct to fight over scarce food.
Yeah. Shit, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, before we did that, have a camper. Have you guys ever done this where you go out to a cabin, rent a cabin, that sort of thing?
No.
We used to do that for a few years.
That'd be cool.
At Muriel Lake, which was kind of nice.
That'd be cool.
It was a shitty lake, but it was a kind of fun environment. We have family friends come along, and then we'd both be neighbors or something.
Right.
And then go to the fire pit and do marshmallows at night and that sort of thing. And it was a cool time.
That'd be sweet.
It's always fun. Yeah.
That'd be sweet. If it were up to me, I'd be out camping every chance I get.
Same.
Because I know that, there's a guy that I work with, he bought a little piece of property, just a small little, not even a quarter section, smaller than that, just a little strip of land, and it's all bush too. He cleared out a couple of spots, and he parks his camper out there year round, and every night after work, he'll just rip up there, he'll have a fire, he'll sit out there and just relax, enjoy the nature. That's literally all he bought it for. Him and his friends and his family come out and they set up their campers too, and every night they just go out there and have a few beers, sit around the fire, and just...
I live for those kind of nights,
man. And it's just and I'm like, man, that sounds awesome. So awesome. In the wintertime, it would be kind of crappy. So, I mean, that's your summer thing, right? That you can just go out there and just do it.
Yep.
That'd be sick. That'd be awesome setup.
Those nights where you just sit on the fire and just gossip or bullshit all night and just hang out and chill and just shoot the shit. I love those nights.
Yeah.
Nice night and just have the fire nice and stoked and warm and just relaxing, and I love that.
Just enjoy people's company and just fucking chill. And
which I regret not being into that when I was younger. As a kid, you just don't think of stuff like that. Even as early adult, teenager, that stuff like that would still bore the hell out of me.
Right.
And now I'm like, God, I wish I was more into that when I was younger, because I love that stuff now.
Right.
Well, I think it's more as a kid, you're constantly you can't sit still. You gotta do stuff, and now as an adult, it's oh, this is just my time to relax now. This is I can kick back and I have, after working 8 hours a day for 5 days a week, and then when you're a kid, it's you have the whole summer break where you're playing all the time. So it's fuck
that's
that.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's nice. Yeah, it's crazy how much your attitude changes with that kind of stuff as you get older. It's crazy.
Yeah, I take it for what it was back then too, because God, it's not the same anymore. It goes by way too fast.
Yeah,
it sucks for that. But yeah.
So how about what was your worst camping experience you guys have ever had?
We went and visited family camping out by Pierce Lake, Saskatchewan, and it rained. We were there for 4 days. It rained heavy all 4 days, and it would have been 7 or 8 at the time. I barely remember it, but I remember being in a little tent camper, and it was the old ones where if you touched the side of the walls, water would come in, right?
Oh yeah.
So you couldn't sit still. And of course, with my ADD and just fidgeting as a young kid, I couldn't sit still. And I had to be inside for days on end, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And so you just get bored, touch the walls, and it's full of water, and Uncle Fred's yelling at you, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit like that. I don't miss that part. But then the very last day got nice, and then we were able to finally go outside and play. But then we left at 4 p.m. Right when it's starting to get nice, because we had to still drive 2 hours, whatever else to get back that too. So
yeah,
that part sucked. But yeah, that was probably the worst time ever camping, just being wet and cold. And
yeah,
I was middle of June. Oh no, I think it was May long. We did there because it was still cold. It was all hell and rained. I think it was a May long weekend. But yeah.
The The one thing that like jumps to mind is like, I think my phobia of like small creatures developed when I was camping. Because like I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but we went camping at the Cold Lake campground or whatever.
Okay.
And it was like right after the final Harry Potter book came out, so I brought that with me. And I just like in the mornings before like people kind of got going, we started like hanging out with friends and stuff. I usually would be like just sitting and like reading my book. And I remember sitting on one of the camp chairs and I had my feet up on like another camp chair and just reading. And then all of a sudden I like feel something like touch my foot. And I like put the book down and there's a squirrel like sitting on my foot and I have like sandals on and I was just like, it just scared the shit out of me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
A squirrel got that close to you?
It was
like
literally like perched on my foot. Like,
that's crazy.
And then I was like, and then yeah, ever since then I think I'm like scared of like small creatures, and I think that dates back to that. I think.
Jeez, the vicious squirrels would attack you.
They just sneak up on you, and they're so fast.
Those furry ninjas.
Yeah.
They'll get on you.
Yeah.
Jeez. My worst experience probably was grade 5 or 6. I can't remember what it was, but my dad was up in camp because he worked on the drilling rigs, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come up camping with me or whatever for about 2 weeks?" And I was like, "No, not really," but I didn't want to say no. But I was like, "Oh, I mean, yeah, sure, okay." Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, you can bring some movies, bring your Game Boy, whatever, come hang out, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." I'm like, "I don't know what's happening here. Like, why are you taking just me?" And he's like, "Yeah, just you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, sure." So went up to, I don't even know where we were. I don't remember where we went, where he was working. But I remember he had parked it on the side of a gravel road, and the lease site was like down another lease road that was made off of there. So there's traffic constantly going by, big trucks, whatever. There was no power. And basically I had to stay in this camper by myself. And my dad would come home and I'd have to stay absolutely silent when he got home because he needed his sleep before his next shift started.
Jesus.
For 2 fucking weeks. I had homework. I had all this other stuff. And I had to do dishes. I had to make supper for him. And I'm like, am I being punished for something? Like, what is happening? I couldn't leave because, like I could get run over. I'd need like a hard hat and somebody would have to come with me up to the rig and all this stuff too. And I'm just like, and then he's like, "Oh, if you're bored, you can come out to the rig and just kind of hang out on the outside." I guess there was one day where he had, I think it was like a day or two of standby. So him and a couple of the crew members and their kids, we went out to there was like a trout pond and we caught some fish out of the trout pond and made trout, I guess, in the Push shack. Push is like basically like the boss of the rig site, and we're in his shack and he made some fish. Like that was pretty cool. But then after that, it was just like literally all I did was just stay quiet and whatever. And then I do the dishes, and then we ran out of water. And then he's like, "Well, you got to try and clean them. Like use the water out of the jugs and stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And that almost completely ruined camping for me. Wow. Like completely, it was terrible, man. And the camper wasn't even like level or. It was weird, man.
That sounds weird. Yeah.
It was terrible.
Shitty time. Yeah.
It was. And I'm just like, I'm scared to like breathe too loud because he'd be like, "Quiet." Like, just trying to keep myself like, I'm like, I can't play anything. I can't watch anything because he's trying to sleep. And I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Yeah, no phone at that time, right? Because there's like no cell phones. Back then I was in grade 6. So I couldn't like call or do anything. So that was weird.
Yeah,
that is weird.
That's a weird one. Yeah,
that is weird.
To go up there for 2 weeks is you and your dad.
I mean, I've had some where like you're camping and like my tent fell over and I got all wet. But I mean, the next day it was dry and whatever. It's kind of funny because I was drinking and with friends and stuff. Like it was whatever. But that was just like that was like prison, man.
Yeah, to be a kid and trapped in such a camper all day, it's tough. Yeah. That's when it's like, okay, I can see why you may not like it, but
yeah, it was weird.
Now it's like, oh yeah.
I wonder if my dad will listen to this and be like, "Oh, I remember that. I thought you were having a good time. It was a father-son bonding experience."
You yelled at me all
you did was fucking yell at me, Dad.
I was a prisoner.
In your twisted ideology of father-son bonding. I'm just kidding.
So I know you did it before. I never had the ambition of hiking. Did you like hiking at all?
Oh, I loved hiking. It was awesome.
The whole idea, like I know my sister-in-law is big into that too, where she'll go for a weekend up to the mountains and spend a tent overnight too up there and pack everything. Would you do something like that too at all? Or
oh yeah. Like when we had our school hiking trip, I went up there. Actually, there's another funny story, but that's a long story. But yeah, like it was awesome. I went because our class was split into 2 groups. One was female and one was the guys. And they were like, oh, we need one volunteer to go with the girls. Well, I guess I'm going to tell the story. I don't know how much time we have. And we need one volunteer to go with the girls. And I'm like looking around and nobody's raising their hand. I'm like, you guys don't want to see these women in like minimal clothing walking around? Like,
to be fair,
I put my hand up like, nice. But I did not think that at that time, you know, we're going to be gone for a week.
Yeah.
There's no shaving, you know, and some of them might be their little friend. Tom might be showing up that week. You know, I never thought about that kind of stuff, or how much complaining there was going to be and how much drama there was going to be and how heavy everything was going to be. But so I went, and man, my pack, I was carrying water bottles for them, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, feeling like all tough and kind of macho and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, this fucking sucks. Like getting all fuzzy, and they're talking about like how sweaty they are and stuff, and it's just like just greasy. I'm like, because we're not showering up there or anything, right? So 5 days of sweating, and I had to sleep with the teachers who snored every night. And basically, when I went on the hiking trip, you had to basically pack out whatever you pack in. There's no garbage cans. There's no throwing anything out. You literally have to take everything with you that you took there, have to take back, because you can't mess with the nature, right? Like there's none of that shit going on, which is whatever, right? So the one night, my friend Renee, she was the one that was carrying the rice and stuff, and she made like all the rice one night. And it's like, well, we have to get rid of this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I'll just eat it. It's like, well, that's a lot of rice. Like, there's a lot of rice, and it was like a huge pan full of it. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm kind of hungry, and I ate it, and there wasn't enough seasoning or something. She did something completely wrong, and it was like super mushy and like almost brainy texture. Like it was disgusting, way overcooked. And I'm like, oh, whatever. I'll be the good guy. And I devoured like this whole thing, like just completely devoured it. And then I was drinking like a whole bunch of like these little sachets or whatever they were called, like the powdered Gatorade mix, electrolytes. I was putting it in the water, and I was the only one that wasn't filtering my water at the time either. So I was drinking that, and then I remember I was sleeping the one night, and I'm like, oh my God, I woke up and it felt like there was maggots trying to burst out of my stomach. My stomach hurt so bad. I thought there was something alive inside my stomach. I'm like, Jesus. Oh my God. And I'm just vibrating. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm going to throw up inside this tent with my two teachers. Like, Jesus. And I can hear them like sleeping, right? So I rolled over and I'm like trying to feel for the zipper to the tent, and I can't find it because I need to get out, right? So then I managed to find it, and I slowly unzipped it. I'm like holding it in my mouth now. Like it's creeping up out of my throat, and I'm like, oh God. So then I managed to crawl out, and I was like running, and I couldn't see, like when it's dark up there, up in the mountains, it's literally like pitch black, like, and there was cloud cover there. I couldn't see anything. Yeah. So I grabbed a tree, and I'm just like, oh, just all over this tree, and I'm like, oh God. I'm like, oh, like all of it came out. I'm like, God damn. I'm like, whatever, because I figured I'm far enough away, and nobody's gonna hear nothing. So I went back to the tent, close it, and then I'm like, oh God. And then this time it hit me so fast that I just put my head out and just like tried to aim up and try to like arc it and shoot it out of the tent. Went back to sleep. All of a sudden the light turns on, click, and then my teacher was like, here, I got some Pepto for you. And he's like, I heard the whole thing. And then our other teacher, Mr. Jodwin, he was laughing the whole time. And I'm like, oh, you guys heard the whole time? You waited all this time to whatever? Like, I was like a half-hour struggle. I was trying to like get out of the tent, trying to be quiet. And they just kept quiet the whole time. You fucking bastards. So then I went to sleep, because the next day was just going to be the day hike, because we were halfway through our trip. And then I remember waking up because one of the girls was like, oh my God, there's pink rice everywhere. There was like literally, and then my teacher was like, well, looks like you're gonna have to pack that stuff. Someone's gonna have to pack it up. And then all the girls were like, oh, Renee, it was your rice, you have to pack it. And she's like, I don't want. Oh my God, it's so disgusting. I just took my sleeping bag and covered my head. I was so embarrassed, man. So we ended up just like basically burying it. Is all we did. We didn't obviously want to.
No, you can't return that back. No
take that shit out, right? So,
good Lord.
So that was quite the experience.
I wasn't ready for that story. My God.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a doozy, man.
Jesus, yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah. Did you guys ever do so that was a school thing?
Yeah. That was a school thing, yeah. Grade 11, I think it was.
Grade 11, grade 12, you usually go hiking, yeah.
Did you guys ever do like a camp in like elementary school at all, or no?
No.
Yes.
Elementary, I didn't, I don't think.
I think I did with, I didn't do a camp with elementary. I went to actual like a summer camp for the disabled kids, I think like in junior high. Grade 6, grade 7, I want to say it was. I went there for, you go there for like a week. It was out by, it's like Westonia Plain area, west of Edmonton. And yeah, it was just a fun little like accessible camp, and just hang out there for a week and met the kids and their siblings came along too. So it wasn't just you and a bunch of handicapped kids; it was a bunch of other kids too. And just the whole area was like there was like rock climbing stuff. There was like a whole like mini golf area.
Sweet.
Big park area you can hang out at.
Well, that'd be fun.
Oh, yeah, it was actually pretty fun. I actually wanted to volunteer after I graduated, but it was so backlogged for volunteers that you couldn't get in, right? So, yeah, it was a fun little thing for that. But, yeah.
So we had in Elk Point, in grade 5 and 6, you would go like to camp like Whitney Lake. There's like their little Bible camp thing with all the little cabins and stuff. Like the school would just rent those out. So grade 5s would go for 3 days, and then the grade 6s would go like 5 days or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going in grade 6, and there was a lot of shit that went down on that camping trip. So first off, so you're like in cabins with like, 5 other dudes or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're just like those like, they're basically like gym mats or something for like mattresses.
Yeah.
So they're like, there's no insulation in those cabins, and they're like plastic mattresses, so they're just ice cold as soon as you like lay down on them.
Ooh.
Even like with your like sleeping bag and shit. So that sucked.
Yeah.
The other shitty thing is like, where do you get changed with a group full of dudes?
Mm-hmm.
So I did the unfortunate thing of never changing my underwear for 5 days.
Dude,
there's a lot of chafing going on the last day. It was pretty bad, and at the time I was doing football. And it was like, all right. But the thing is, like during the camp trip, we didn't go to football practice. But the last day when we coming home, there was supposed to be practice that night, and I was like, dude, I can't like even walk. Like I'm not going to football practice.
Christ.
It was pretty bad.
Wow.
But the worst part, debatably.
That wasn't the worst part?
Debatably.
Well, I mean, that was just more a personal thing. Nobody else knew the struggle that I was going through at that point. But there was this girl who was threatening to cut herself in her cabin.
Oh.
And was talking about like pouring bleach into her like cuts and stuff like
what
that.
The hell?
Holy fuck.
Yeah, she got sent home.
Well, no shit. I would hope so.
Yeah. That was very, very weird.
Yeah.
And this is in elementary?
Grade 6.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
Where does that stem from?
I don't
Jesus.
know.
Parents do better.
There was also a time when apparently one of the girls brought like a Ouija board or something like that.
Okay.
Because there's always like these like stupid thing of like this campground's haunted for some reason.
Oh, cool. I'd feed off that for sure.
So like the girls are like doing their thing, and of course like the cabin walls are basically plywood, so you can hear exactly what they're talking about. And so they're talking to you in the Ouija board and stuff like that. And like me and my friends were just standing outside, like listening to them. It's like if you're here, give us a sign. And we just went boom, 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 like, on the side of the wall, and they just like ran out screaming.
Shitheads. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good times. Those camping memories like that. Yeah. It was always fun.
Yeah. It was a good time. Like we did like archery and canoeing and a lot of other stuff.
Oh, that sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah, our hiking trip was awesome too. It's the same thing. Like, well, like when you were talking about those stupid thin little gym mats, like they're super lightweight. Yeah. So that's all we had for padding on us too. Like we're all basically just on the ground, cold, and you're up in mountains. It gets pretty chilly up there, but it was definitely memorable.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun stuff. I'd like to go on another hiking trip like that again. That'd be cool.
Oh, and at the end of the grade 6 camping trip, we did they call them like doughboys or something like that, but it was essentially like I think they like wrapped Pillsbury dough like on like a stick, and you like cook it over the fire, and then you pull the stick out, and there was just like dough with a hole in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty much. They're like, okay, and then you're like, you put jam, or you can put Cheese Whiz in there or something like that, and everybody who put like the jam in there ended up getting food poisoning. So there was a lot of people throwing up.
Oh like, my god!
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like, this is not going well, guys. We had a girl talking about suicide, and now people are throwing up. This is not good.
Holy man!
Wow.
Scott smells like shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, he shit himself. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess any like memories that stand out to you guys that are like super awesome?
Not really. Well, we went on a trip recently, like a year ago, up in Edson. That was a lot of fun. Sorry, Hinton, I mean. Up in Hinton, that was a lot of fun, except that Carly broke her leg on the first day, but
yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. Bought a chair for her at Canadian Tire, because one of our friends wouldn't let her use the bathroom. You bastard. You fucking bastard. Had to cut a hole in a plastic chair so she could sit down and shit. About the broken leg.
Jesus.
I had to be there every step of the way.
Yeah, I'm sure
Like
she
a good
appreciates you telling this story.
Oh, yeah. Why are you talking about? She doesn't listen to this podcast. Yeah, she does, actually. Sorry, Carly.
That's right.
You poor bastard. That was a great trip, though. That was a lot of fun. A lot of shitty things happened on that one. That was quite memorable. It's quite funny. More camping. We need to do more camping.
Yes,
if I could.
That's my one goal this summer. Hopefully, I can do more of it. I still have the truck tent. I want to get a camper, but if I have to use that, I don't care. Summer's the rest of my head. Out of the weather, good enough.
Whoever's listening should recommend a good camping destination for us. We should trek out and do, because we'll have to do that.
Vlog it and have fun with that. That'd be
great.
Great. Yeah,
I'll bring my camera. We'll make a little documentary or something for that. That'd be fun.
For sure.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Any other final thoughts before we wrap this thing up?
Good there, bud.
That's good. There you go.
Good.
If you got a camping
Story
that you want to share with us, do that on Facebook. We'd like to hear that. And then if you have a camping destination as well that you want to share with us that you think is cool, we'd love to hear that as well.
Please,
and if you're of course watching on YouTube, like and subscribe on there. And yes, the sign. And if you're listening to our podcast on a podcast service like Apple, Spotify, or Google, give us a thumbs up, give us 5 stars, and subscribe to that feed. And head over to our Facebook page, like the page, and ask us a question for Ask Us Anything Monday, which will be coming up, of course, after the weekend. But until then, we'll see you later.
See you later, everybody.
See you guys.